So we'll call the meeting to order. And Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Jerome is muted. Jerome, you have to unmute.
You'd think I'd have this down, Elliot, but after zooming all day, Supervisor Goldberg,
I'm here.
Trustee Schnitzer Eisenberg,
Here.
Trustee Robbins,
Here.
Trustee Thomas,
Here.
Trustee Moser,
Here.
Assessor Churchwell,
Here.
Deputy Clerk Forrester,
Here.
Director of Administration and Finance, Ty.
No,
No? Okay. Director McCall,
Here, sir.
Mr. Supervisor, we have a quorum for business.
great. Having a quorum, it would be time to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Gail, do you have a flag? Oh, look at that. All right, we'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance.
to the flag
Flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
it
stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
justice for all. Okay. Thank you all. The meeting is in order and our first,
We ask that the visitors identify themselves.
well, I was about to.
Oh, sorry, Val.
Okay. Would any of our guests please let us know who you are so we can have you in the minutes?
Hi, I'm Nicole Capretta. I'm a Wilmette resident, and my daughter's playing bassoon in the background.
Cool. Okay, thank you. And anyone else? Yeah,
Hi, I'm Danielle Rubin. I'm also a Wilmette resident, and I'm on the slate for trustee.
thank you. Thank you both for coming. Is there anyone else?
I'm Mary Lawler and I'm from Wilmette. I'm here. I'm observing for the League of Women Voters of Wilmette.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yep.
And do you have any public comment that you'd like to make at this time? You'll certainly be allowed if something moves you as the meeting goes on. This will not be your only opportunity in life to speak, but okay. So hearing none, before we go to approval of the number of minutes we have to go through, I want to let you know Diane had a terrible home accident. They were doing some repair work in her house. And as best I can understand this, she tumbled down a bunch of stairs. And there are fractured bones and there's a very unhappy and very necessary part of our team who is working remotely for the next period of time. If you get a chance, you may want to drop her an email and just let her know you're thinking of her. I think it would be helpful. So I do it in the morning while the pills are still working. But she's not in great shape, but she is doing all she can to keep us afloat and working as we're going. All right, we have a bunch of minutes from some previous meetings. So Jerome, I'm going to let you drive this portion for approval.
I would appreciate it. So you received them electronically. Some of them you received a long time ago, and then it's just, I didn't have them set for approval. Hopefully you had a chance to look not only at the hard copy and at the electronic copy. And I want to assure the board that, furthermore, they haven't been posted on the website pending approval. they will be posted, okay? Want to assure you, if you want to access to any of them, they will be on the website. And now that hopefully they'll all be approved. If there are any changes, I'd be delighted to fix them before they're.
I have a question really for Jack McCall. If we approve all of these, does that get us caught up as best you know on the minutes that we don't have on the website?
I can answer that. Yes, because this would include other ones that have already been approved that haven't been posted. So
Okay.
Trustee Thomas, if you approve them all this evening, they'll all be posted and will be fully up to date, including the last meeting. So we'll be ready to roll.
Okay,
Thank you, Jerome, for the hard work on this. Can I just ask that we also include the board, the consent, what we used to call the consent agenda, the board reports, just.
So that's
add
something
them
that,
to the
so
end.
Jack, could we add an extra space for that? Because, and even putting the video on too, if maybe that's something, since we've been meeting virtually, if you'd want to add that. I know you'd requested that before. I didn't check on that with other clerks, but.
We do have the videos up, which thank you, Jack, for doing that. This would be
Oh, the
just to
videos
add
are-
it in, since we approve that and we used to be approving the consent agenda, but now thanks to Mary's insight, we are accepting their board reports. But I think it would be great just to make sure that we're have a fulsome report if we just include those board reports right there in the minutes, since they're accepted as part of the.
So you would want me to attach them to the minutes, just
Yes.
say attachments, not have a separate column saying board reports.
No, this should be a part of the same minutes, like, yeah. So if you click on it and
I
it
could-
says,
Do you want me to go back? Because if I go back, that will take a while because I'll have to get the.
oh, no, just like throw them in at the same time. So,
But for
for
tonight's.
example,
votes or for all
tonight,
the other
when we approved our most recent minutes, and I call for the consent agenda, we just include them in going forward.
right, so the public
Yep.
can see what we were looking at.
And then it's there.
A good idea.
Thanks again.
Having gone through all that, you want to call each one up to them so that we
Well,
can approve
I
these
would-
guys?
Trustee Thomas had recommended a long time ago that you approve them as one motion,
We could
I
do,
did.
but
it's
there's a lot.
your motion. You determine how you want it.
I move that we, as a block, approve all of these minutes that have been submitted, starting with what, Jerome, December 17th, running through, September
January.
29th. I move that we approve all of them as a block, and I personally have no comments because my memory isn't good enough to make any critical comments of things 3 and 6 months ago. Somebody may have found something that bothers them, not me.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Thank you, Elliot. Any
Discussion.
discussion of the minutes?
Yes, I think that we should identify each set of minutes, even if it's one motion. So I know it's a little bit laborious, but I think it's appropriate.
Well, let me go through the dates of them. Is that what you're thinking of, Stefan?
That's
Because
exactly what I'm thinking of, John.
I've got them right in front of me.
Okay, I do too.
Now, do you want me to just read the dates, or shall I read the dates and see if there's any comments? Well, let me read the date. First set is December 17th, 2019. Second set is January 21st, 2020. Third set is February 25th, 2020. Next set I have is June 9th, 2020. The next set is July 14th, 2020. The next set is August 18th, 2020. And the next and last set is September 29th, 2020.
Thank you. Are there any comments on any of the aforementioned minute dates? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that block of minutes is now accepted.
Alan, point of order. I did read recently that during this process, during the Zoom process, all votes for townships need to be roll call.
On minutes?
What?
And in general, during the Zoom, the revisions to OPM just for this during this period need to be roll call.
I thought it was
Correct me if
only
I'm
on
wrong.
money issues, but if it's, I don't care. Well,
Oh.
how
Excuse me,
about
Gail-
Mr. Clerk will have a roll call.
I certainly
Gail,
will.
is this for Zoom only?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Something new, huh?
that's what I saw on Toy. Yep.
Okay,
Here we go. Supervisor Goldberg,
yes,
trustee Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Robbins,
Yes,
trustee Thomas,
Yes.
trustee Moser.
Yes,
okay. The minutes are approved. Okay. The next item would be our supervisor's report, which will be brief. The normal gaps that I've had over the last several months because of illness and other things is extended even a bit more because, frankly, because Diane has been out and I rely very heavily on her input to help me get ready for these meetings, and that did not happen this month. But we will make sure that nothing or very little falls through the cracks, and that our final record will be complete. Okay. Our next item would be on staff reports that we have been pulling out as a consent agenda. If you would like to continue to do it that way and then approving to be included in the minutes, we could, or we can pull each one separately. The first thing I'll do is call for approval of a consent agenda unless somebody wants to pull something out.
Alan, I thought a couple of meetings ago, we decided that it was improper to call it a
Oh, we
consent
did?
agenda.
Okay, what do you want to call it?
We're accepting the
Staff
board
reports.
Okay,
reports.
fine. We'll have the staff reports and we'll consider them en masse unless you want to pull an individual one out. Is that okay?
Well, since we're not going to call it a consent agenda, I move that we accept the staff reports of our Community Service Administrator of November 4th, of our, what'd she call herself? Jean Winstead, who is our, whatever, something, and our communications.
Social worker, I think will work.
Yeah,
Social Services
Social
Director.
Services.
That's
Administrator.
Okay,
and our October 2020 communications report submitted to us by our communications director, Jack McCall.
okay. And then Brian's report.
Oh, yeah, I meant to, yeah, well, I said him to start with.
Okay, I'm
Community-
sorry.
Community services, yeah.
All
I
right,
kicked
good.
off with that, Alan.
That's okay. Well, now we would need a roll call, given that we're still in a Zoom meeting, as far as I know.
I guess so.
If we have to have a motion, I don't think we have to have a motion here.
No.
but
If you want it approved and you'd be safe and it's there.
Sure, it can be safe. So second then.
Okay, Jerome?
Supervisor Goldberg,
Oh,
Yes.
trustee
discussion,
Eisenberg.
please.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Do we have dates on the Thanksgiving distribution? I see we're using Winnetka Presbyterian.
They may not be in the report, but there's a notice inside the township, on the township door and inside the door as to what times they are, the dates and times. I've seen it. I can't
For
tell you
Thanksgiving?
offhand. But it's
Okay.
there.
Okay, great.
I had a,
It's currently posted on our door. I would ask Jack if you could put a banner on the website. Just adding that information.
We had talked about this and it was the Monday before Thanksgiving. I was just checking my phone, which is November 23rd.
Yeah.
Would be the distribution day at the church. I don't have all the details on it, but
That's I don't need it right now, but what I'd like us to do when we do have the dates, in addition to being put on the door, that we put a banner on the website. That's all.
we can put something on the website for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
It's
then,
divided into into time periods by the first letter of the last name of the person getting it is the only detail you need.
Great.
yeah, so long as we have it posted and people can find it easily, that's all I'm concerned about.
Perfect.
Or as easily as possible.
And similarly, information, people are starting to ask me about how they can be involved in the holiday giving programs. They just contact Jean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, call the question.
Sure. So is there anything else on the staff reports?
I had a question on Brian's.
Sure.
If you look at his chart, he's said he's got allocations for 2020, allocations for 2021, and then he's got requests for 2022. If I'm not mistaken, he's a year ahead of himself.
20. I don't know.
I can ask him to review it and make sure that the dates are appropriate.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it, Alan.
Yeah.
I think they are.
I hope everything is as easy to fix. So, okay, if there's nothing else on the community, on the staff reports, we would move to Jerome and a clerk's report.
So did you want to take a roll call vote on that question? It was moved and seconded.
We should.
Okay, then let's do it.
Supervisor Goldberg,
Yes.
trustee Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Robbins,
Yes.
trustee Thomas,
Yes.
trustee Moser.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
For my clerk's report, I received a packet in the mail from the Township Official of Illinois, so I'll be attending their first ever virtual conference. And it's a little melancholy for me because this will be my last one, but I want to assure you and our clerk's candidate, it's very useful, or can be. And I'm pleased that trustee Eisenberg will be attending. There's a whole lot of information from Toy, sometimes slow to get to us, but it's especially the clerk's division. And I know the assessors and the trustees have been trying to do a lot more, as well as the supervisors. So I'm excited about my last Toy conference. And then by this time next month, I'll be able to report to you about what we know so far about the consolidated election, whether there'll be another slate in addition to the Citizens League, or if will be an uncontested election. So I'll probably have that information by then, knowing whether anyone else is gathering petitions. And
Did you get my email, Jerome?
Jan, I haven't looked right now.
That's
About the
okay.
qualifications for the assessor?
I have to turn into
I
somebody
did get your email.
my
Yeah,
letter
about
from
that.
IDOR saying that I'm qualified to run for assessor, which I have, but I don't know who to give it to.
Well, if you could give it to me, it's one of those, I did see your email about the
Okay.
qualifications. I just, when they ask about ballot certification, that's one of the questions they'll say, has the assessor
Right.
Approved it?
So I'll just stick a copy in your mailbox then.
Perfect.
Is that all right?
It's just one of those things that they count on me to say.
Oh, I
yes.
know. It's just, I mean, it's nice that I have it, but it's not very helpful in terms of the election procedures. Somebody better than I am needs it. So that's what I wanted to know. Thanks. I will put a copy in your box.
Excellent. And that's.
May I ask a question of Jerome? Has our next year's Secretary Nicole been given any of this information, so she might think about whether she wants to attend some part of these Zoom meetings.
I thought about that, trustee Thomas, but it might, they might
But
view
what?
that as like jumping the gun, because there might be other people running. I have no idea. I pledged to Nicole that I will be very thrilled to work with her on everything. I know Sandy will too, reviewing every aspect of the office, so she'll start with great knowledge and
Well,
hopefully.
the question, Jerome, isn't so much whether she can be an official attendee, which she can't unless she's a clerk, but is there a public component to this where if she were interested, she could attend as an observer? Just as she can, as can Danielle, attend our board meetings, as anybody can in the township, as an observer.
John, that's an excellent question. Nicole, I'd like to get with you to talk about, there's a session about duties and responsibilities of the clerk that would be really great for you. So I could,
That
maybe you
might
could be
scare her
my
off.
guest at that meeting, because I'm registered for it and I could just give you the log-on information. Thanks, John. That's a great suggestion. Nicole, if you're interested, it's on Tuesday. It's next Tuesday. So if you can
Maybe
arrange
she's
at
going
least
to
for
the
that
football
time to
game.
watch the session on that. And also note that one of the reasons I spoke up earlier about Toy being helpful, TOC is also very helpful, because it's just that over the years, they've answered many, many questions for me. And then I've wound up answering questions for other clerks. So I think you'll get not just a kick out of them, but you'll note that they have a lot of very helpful information.
For those who are not as studied in the alphabet soup of township officials of Illinois is TOY, and TOC is Township Officials of Cook County.
Jerome, you're talking about the clerks meeting at the annual toy conference?
Right. And that's the only reason I wasn't sure. Yes. Next
It's not a
week.
clerks meeting, it's an educational event. Yeah.
The whole week is an educational, but it was traditionally
It has been the big deal each year when the township officials from across the state historically have gotten together in Springfield or occasionally Peoria, now that I think about it. But in any event, that's not happening this year because of COVID. But just so you know, that it's normally a large, good heaven, it's a large event held in Springfield. Gives you a chance to meet with state officials and your peers from across the state. This year will be different, and it's a learning experience for all of us as to how it shakes out. And if you guys who are not yet members want to, there's no reason in the world for you not to come, but except if you don't want to. But and if you do want to go, I'd suggest you get in touch with Jerome. And we'll handle it from there. All right. You have anything else, Jerome?
No, thank you.
Okay, Jan.
Hi, yes, we are, and hello to Danielle and Nicole. I'm the township assessor, so I'm the one person at this meeting who has no vote. I just have a voice. So we are now open for appeals. I'm not sure whether it's again or still to the Board of Review. We opened on October 24th, and then we were shut down officially because the assessor's office did not get our results published in time, and by law, the Board of Review is not allowed to have a jurisdiction open until the assessor has published his results. That got taken care of the following week, so we reopened officially last Monday, November 2nd. But the practical effect of that for the residents is simply that they have longer to file. Instead of closing on November 24th, I think it was, as initially stated, it is now December 1st with an additional 2 weeks to get in supplemental information if needed. So we are actually quite busy. As Len said, he thinks we have become the the go-to place for all of the difficult appeals. Because if someone uses an attorney, the law firms, by and large, they'll just run comps for people. They will not go to any individual trouble at all unless you pay them individually for legal work on your behalf on an appeal. They will run comps for you and submit them on the, if we succeed, here's our fee basis. Otherwise, you're on an hourly clock with them. So anybody who has an issue that where they think they have more information they want or more information they need, those are the people who are coming to us. And quite frankly, this is exactly what I wanted, because I think a lot of people have not been best served by merely having comps turned in. There are things that happen to people. A house has been misclassified that they only found out about. What do they do when they get it reclassified? Do they have any recourse in terms of back taxes that have been paid? Have they tried before to get it reclassified and the assessor has not come out and done the field check they were supposed to do? So I have really, and thank God for Len, who, as I've said before, is the man who never met a problem he didn't like, just digs in on every single one of these and gets to the bottom of it one way or another. But as a result, he's also very tired right now, even though we're not even there full time, he's still working full time. And that's basically where we are. We're processing appeals right now and telling people if they have anything else, they can talk to us about it later. And there it is.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of Jan? Okay.
I just want to say I used our own township services this time around, and I thought it was very useful. And I hope I did it right.
I'm sure you did.
Okay. John, my brain cells are gone, as I've demonstrated amply on numerous occasions. But we're not supposed to call this thing old business anymore. And I forgot what it is, but we're at that point in the agenda.
Yeah, continuing business.
Great.
Now, my brain cells are older than yours, and I remembered that.
And I appreciate it. So would anyone like to talk about any continuing business?
I would like to briefly mention something. After the annual township meeting, which was our first virtual township meeting, the League of Women Voters, a couple of officers there, I believe, or high-ranking members of the League of Women Voters, expressed concern about the manner in which we handled the referendum regarding the green, the environmental issue. And they suggested in their concern that we might have compromised the integrity of that vote in the manner we conducted the meeting. And that's kind of been grating on me since the meeting. I hope we didn't do that. I remember Jerome deliberately counting those whose picture was present twice, and he came up with the same result 2 times.
Elliot, and I have to apologize, I didn't have everybody on the screen at once. And so it wasn't right. There were probably 3 votes against. It doesn't, here's what was troubling to me. And then when we're going to move to a vote of each, it was to get it onto the ballot. It wasn't a question of approving the measure, saying that the township stands by it. And I was concerned, if you could see, I mean, I was concerned that if we would go to say a roll call vote beyond a voice vote, we wouldn't do that other than holding up the cards, and we certainly wouldn't. It was just an unusual situation. First of all, in my
Jerome,
first,
I understand completely.
I just want to explain. I was very pleased that we finally had a citizen question. They filled out the paperwork right. Everything was set. We had it on the agenda that you approved, but the pandemic happened, and then everything with getting the annual town meeting even scheduled. When it came up, it was still listed on the agenda. That was all set. The question itself wasn't on the agenda. And that's, I mean, it's a valid point. I should have taken the question and just put it on the actual agenda. But when we approved it for a virtual meeting, I didn't remember to do that. So they're right, but I'm not.
What I'm hoping is that what we did do is acceptable, because the statute that we're all looking at really wasn't designed for virtual meetings. It was designed for.
Yeah, I think, Elliot,
nor will
a
annual town
large
meetings
part of
are going
this
to be
problem
virtual.
will self-correct. It's unlikely. I mean, who knows about impossible? I wouldn't say that anymore about anything. But it's unlikely that we'll have another year like this, where we will be using virtual meetings. For 165 years or whatever the number is, we've been having the meetings in person. And I assume going forward, the meetings will again be in person. And this problem would not have reared its head were we meeting in the normal fashion, which would be what would happen in the future. So I think we should make sure that we're doing everything we can to make it work more smoothly. But I think this is something that will self-correct.
But I don't want to be at all dismissive about how important and how serious this matter was to the people that stood behind it and that brought it to our attention. And I'm just hoping that we did them the service that they deserve, because for them.
Elliot, we did the very best we could in very trying circumstances. We have never had a virtual meeting before, and we didn't know what exactly to do about it. So we did the best we could. And the likelihood is, as I said, that we're not going to have another virtual meeting, but we'll make efforts to make sure that we do it better if it ever does happen again. But I mean, we can prepare for all kinds of stuff.
We're fortunate enough
It
to
didn't happen in 165 years, and it probably won't happen for the next 165 years.
We have a member of the League of Women's Voters with us tonight, Mary Lawler, who I know, Mary, she's a wonderful person. Mary, is there anything that you can add to the discussion based on your marching orders from your organization?
I'll say, I just observed the meetings. I'm actually not allowed to speak for the league. Only the co-presidents can speak for the league. So I think they just put it in a concern in the letter, and I guess I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. We acknowledge the concern and we'll do what we can.
And I just want to say, Trustee Robbins, you did a very fine job as moderator, and I listened to that.
Go back to just observing.
Mary, thank you.
So, Trustee Robbins, I listened to the recording. I think I've heard it at least 10 times, full through the whole thing. And I thought you were very fair. You invited numerous people to speak. We didn't shut down anyone. So and the question was getting it onto the ballot. So I thought you did a superb job, and I'm hearing the concern and all.
Did we follow the decorum such that we did succeed in getting it on the ballot based on the tabulation?
When I put in the ballot for the consolidated election, there'll be a section, was there approved at the annual town meeting, a question to be placed on the township. And I should note for Nicole, this is kind of exciting. It's the first time we've had that happen. So while we've had very successful annual town meetings over the years, they've all been in person. And as far as as long as I've been clerk, we've never had a citizen question like that. So maybe that starts an era of.
Which is the point I was making before. It's never happened before, and it's likely not to happen again.
So
that doesn't mean we shouldn't be careful and see that we do it as well as we can, but I don't want to lose too much sleep over it.
And in the past, just for clarification, when anyone would sign it, Sandy and I and volunteers from the Citizens League, we have a table. People had to sign in with their residence that they were indeed a township, and swear that they were a township registered voter and resident. And then we would give them a little green card. I mean, we used to chuckle at that. There was really nothing controversial.
Yeah, there is a procedure set up for our normal process. It didn't happen.
I have a couple questions. One, was there an official response to the League of Women Voters from you, Alan?
No, because it is not a township meeting. I mean, as supervisor, I was not the presiding officer of that meeting.
Okay.
So it would be out of place for me to respond.
Okay. And I know we have a short article about that in the Courier. And then the second question is, has anyone objected to the procedure?
Not that I've heard of.
I appreciate the League of Women Voters bringing this concern.
Absolutely.
And God willing, we never have to do that again. But yes, hopefully it will be moot.
I would just like to clarify, Jerome, did the question get on the ballot or not?
So in December, at the end of December, when the filing period is finished, then the county will send us what will the ballot look like, and then it will be placed in the ballot. That's the procedure for it.
Who decides if it gets on the ballot or not?
We do. We do.
The electors.
So we submit a ballot with that question
So
on it.
they'll send a copy of who are all the candidates, what order do they stand, and then one of the other questions they'll ask is, were there any citizen questions to be put forth?
And are they always all accepted?
Well, see, other townships have
Never
this
happens.
regularly, but we don't. But I've never heard of them not, especially since it was approved by a vote of the electors at the annual town meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And Stefan, they were presenting this at other townships, and I hadn't heard from any other clerk about an issue. It was just, how do you do it when it's virtual?
Thank you.
That's interesting. Jerome, out of curiosity, do you know how many other townships have this
No,
now?
but I can ask. I know it was, it's several because we talked about it at our clerks meeting. So
Cool.
I will ask that question.
Okay. Anything else on the annual town meeting or
So
other?
I guess on is it continuing business? Anyway,
That's old business. I mean, it would have been
Yeah.
old business.
are
Continuing
we?
business.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the lawyer that we have because we don't seem to be getting timely responses.
What was the question, Gail?
It's our township attorney.
Attorney, yeah.
And I'm not, if you have a specific issue, we could address it with them. I don't, they are, the firm, what the hell's it, Matuzak and Kelly,
Kelly.
or Kelly and Matu, I forgot which way. But they are I don't know if they still are, they were the presidents of the Township Lawyers Association. Recently, I don't know if they still are. If there's a specific set of questions,
I'm concerned about how long it's taken them to review the proposal from Walgreens to partner on a flu shot clinic.
well, there were a series of highly unusual events that occurred around the thing at Walgreens, not the least of which was Walgreens not giving us, not getting us the stuff in a real timely manner. There were too many, this is my fault. I didn't grab firm enough control. There were too many cooks in this pot. And it was there were a whole lot of folks who were trying to drive it. And I should have thrown everyone else out, and I didn't. I mean, if we can gussy it up all we want, but that's what happened. There were all kinds of people having input, and I was in the hospital at the time. I did not say everyone else butt out and leave it alone. And so we had several people, all with goodwill, all trying to make this wonderful idea happen, and it screwed everything up. That's what, the bottom line, that's what happened. Blame me, don't blame the law firm on this. They do other things I don't like. This I don't think was it.
So had they reviewed it on your request?
Are they what?
Had they reviewed the contract on your request?
Eventually. when I made a formal request of them, they did. And when I've asked them in the past to review anything specifically, they have been prompt and they've been efficient. And for example, there was a time we had to go downtown because a woman thought that Brian had
Let's not discuss that on Zoom.
that there were some other issues. They've appeared with us whenever necessary and done acceptable work. And if there are specific issues that you want to address with the firm, bring it up. God bless you. I mean, do it. But this wouldn't be
was
one
it-
where I would jump on a board because it was me. And
Sorry,
it was me. And the main thing that I did was not throw other people out, which is
okay,
what I
so
should have done.
is the program idea not moving forward?
It is not going, there's no way, given the village, given the practicalities, given the $1,500 people want somewhere from someone that we're not going to spend. I mean, there are a whole bunch of issues that came up that wouldn't be there if we had more time and if I had written it more carefully. But that's what was happening. If we're going to do it again, we'll bring it up again in the spring. I think there's some very practical problems with the physical location that this was going to be, that in informal meetings with the Winnetka Police Department, certainly not official, wasn't the chief, there were a couple of beat officers who said that if we go where we were planning on going, it wasn't going to work. There were all kinds of issues that were starting to crop up. And I didn't have the time, and we've gone through it before, but it wasn't written as carefully as it should have been. And that's just the reality. What I pledged to you guys 4 years ago was that I wouldn't do everything perfectly, but I would let you know the situation as best I understood it, and that's what I'm doing. So technically, I guess you could say the issue was shelved until the spring. And we'll see what happens at that point.
I do hope that you keep your concerns and perhaps create a memo so that we don't have to recreate this wheel next year.
The concerns are there and they're in writing.
Okay, thank you.
And the primary one will be is who can stick themselves in it and who can't. Frankly, that was, but.
Gail, just for information purposes, Kelly has not been the township attorney for that long. We had previous counsel for many years.
We did.
And during
And
my
that guy
tenure,
died. He
they were,
passed away.
but we had
Cowan.
replaced him before he passed away.
What?
So we do make a habit of reviewing our
Oh,
professional
and I
services.
have no problem reviewing. Just if we're going to review, let's have, and if there are specific concerns, let's deal with specific concerns.
Yes,
We
and
can
I'm
certainly
getting the
review
impression-
our accountants. We should review all our professional relationships.
Absolutely.
Stefan, that was at
I'm
least
just getting
10
the
years ago.
impression that that the emails that I was receiving were saying that we were still pending attorney review, and that was why I was upset that it was taking, you know, months to get a simple contract reviewed. It sounds like there were issues that went beyond that, and I was ill-informed.
Stefan, I remember that too. That was more than 10 years ago.
Was it really, Jerome?
3 firms come in and interview. The board all had a
Yeah, we
chance
did
to
all
ask
kinds of
questions.
review.
That was an interesting experience, and we probably have that in the old minutes. So
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah, and that guy had died, so he had a lot of nerve. All right, is there any new business, whatever we're calling that? Yeah, Elliot.
I just want to echo what trustee Thomas already said. I think all of us are thrilled to see Nicole and Danielle here. And I really look forward to meeting both of you ladies and to vigorously campaigning with both of you on the team. I'm pretty sure, I tend to see the glass half full, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have a hotly contested election for the, the whole slate will be challenged. And I look forward to working with both of you.
John?
I'm going to be sending all of you a memo, and I'll make sure that Nicole and Danielle get a copy. I have as many of you know, an awful lot of board experience, and this is one of the very few boards where we discuss things where we do not have senior staff present. The 17 years I was at the Park District, the various other corporate boards I've been on, the senior staff, by that I mean the people that report to the supervisor, and that are always either welcome or actually, in many cases, being in a board meeting is part of their job.
But John, I point out to you that this is the first time in 4 years that Diane has not been.
No. I'm talking about, Diane is almost always here. I'm
Right.
talking about Jean and Brian, because we got into a discussion last board meeting or one before where I would have been much more comfortable if Brian had been there to provide a point of view, and we were discussing something that peer jury that fell into his bailiwick. I have to tell you that I have seen many times board discussions on specific issues where the senior staff member being present added immeasurably to the discussion and the quality thereof. So I will share with you my reasons in writing before the next.
That
board
would
meeting.
be fine. And I think if we were to let them know that we would appreciate their presence, that we could deal with that. Stefan may be the only person who remembers at one time, we did have other staff people were coming. This is back when Pat was supervisor. And there was a near rebellion on the part of some of the staff that we were eating into their time, especially because they were spending all the time coming a weekend a month or 2 weekends a month for board meetings and other things. And then our board meeting plus committee meetings. And we made a decision, this going back a very long time, and it should be reviewed. But we chose at that time not to, but to specifically invite people to a specific meeting if there were a reason. And
I might point out,
from the time that happened till now, there was an intervening board that followed, I assume, that same procedure. So, I mean, I wasn't here for that intervening period.
at this time of the year, Alan, this might be Brian's only night off, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always helpful to have that institutional knowledge that you guys can give us.
John, my issue with what you're presenting is how do you define senior members? And Alan's correct. At one time, they did attend many of the board meetings, but in my experience with boards, I feel that it is a board meeting for board members. And that if you need a specific individual to appear, then you request for them to appear. But I think it's not necessarily appropriate to have all senior members, again, which is undefined, at all board meetings.
In any event, I think the best thing to do would be if you want somebody specific at a meeting for a specific reason, to just spell it out. And then you eliminate an awful lot of confusion. If, for example, we want Brian here because we're going to talk about peer jury, just ask him to come to that meeting. Just as an example.
When I look at the time that Brian spends both with the committees,
Right.
with the peer jury and the food pantry, I got a feeling we're getting about 75 hours a week out of him on
At
the
least,
average
and that
anyhow.
was the reason for the near insurrection many years ago. I think there were pitchforks in the lobby, as I recall. There was something, there was some objection on the part of staff people.
Pitchforks and burning torches, huh?
It was colorful.
Alan, to
Yes.
show you how long that must have been, in the 12 years, he only comes for the January meeting, and he's been there every day. And Diane, I think, has been at every meeting.
You're right, right.
Except
right.
tonight, but it must have been even 14 years ago. So that
It was a while ago.
It was.
And that only goes to serve as an example of how old Stefan and I are.
Thank you, Alan.
Well, I've included someone else.
I signed up for Social Security this week, so you're right on.
Congratulations. Okay, any new business? Or was that the new business that you brought up, John?
He's muted.
Okay. Well, then what we need to do is come up with a meeting for December.
Alan, do you know the decision dates for the various committees? Because I don't
No,
think
I
that's
do
been
not
decided.
offhand.
yet. All
I
right,
do
I'm
not
not sure if
know
that's
that.
been decided yet.
I don't think it has.
Okay, we'll work around it, but just be aware that those exist as well.
Right.
Currently have the 8th as our regularly scheduled meeting.
Why don't we put down the 8th, and if Stefan pointed out a decision meeting or something comes up that we need to change, we could do it. But for now, let's put down the 8th.
Perfect.
Okay.
No annual Christmas party, right?
Well, we could talk about that if you'd like. There are no restaurants in the immediate area. We can't go to Little Ricky's anymore.
Nope.
Um,
I think we're out of luck on this one. I think that given COVID, unless we
Yeah,
find a place
I
to do
don't
it
know.
outside.
I think erring on the side of safety and taking a hiatus this year is the correct decision.
okay.
Why don't we take that budget that we would have used for staff appreciation for the holiday party and use it for something to, send to them?
Somewhat.
Some holiday cheer by package.
A cheery package. Okay.
Yeah, a cheery package. Yeah.
Okay. I will appoint a secret committee to determine what the cheery package might be and report back to you.
Perfect.
Okay. Is there any other business anyone would like to bring up? If not, we'll go home.
I move we
Some of us.
adjourn.
What?
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
of
Aye.
adjourning? Okay.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Roll call too, since everything else is roll call? or-
Sure. What? Go ahead.
To adjourn, Supervisor Goldberg,
Yes.
Trustee Eisenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Thomas,
Yes.
Trustee Mosher, Trustee
Yes.
Robbins.
Yes.
Adjourned.
As a last comment, Robert's Rules of Order suggests, doesn't demand, but suggests for small boards under 13, there is no need to second motions. But lawyers who are in parliamentary law tend to take a mixed view on that one.
Okay. Well, we can have a mixed discussion next month and figure out what we want to do.
I think we leave that to our presiding officer, Supervisor.
Oh, what power. All right.
Mhm.
We're out of here, guys. Thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Stay healthy and safe. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Cool.